when my dad died, my mother was here in the house, and we just came over to see her. And she got up, she was all excited, and she said, this was the day after my dad had passed away, and she said, Julianne, she said, Dad came to see me last night, and he said, it's all true. Families can be together forever. And she was just happy and calm and peaceful. And she said Dad was happy and you know, he was healthy, and
he'd been bedridden for several weeks.
And you know, and he came back and saw her and told her that, and that's a significant spiritual experience that my mother had, that I wanted my grandparents, my grandkids and kids to know and remember that Grandpa came back and said, it's all true. Laura Lee, families can be together forever.
I remember a whole lot more than she does when it comes to the birth.
I just remember being in pain.
But anyway, Brooke, I was in school still. Brooke was born in September. It was my senior year. We got married pretty much during my sophomore year. And so my junior year we were together, and then my senior year, Brooke was born. And it was at the old Utah Valley Hospital. We went in one night, and Julianne was having pains. And she hadn't dilated, and so they had us in there for a long time. We were in there all one day and then night. And the next morning, she still wasn't born. Brooke was not born. And at that point, we were kind of losing hope, and the doctor came in and delivered her. And I remember checking with her. Her grandmother was in town and a few others, but I stayed there as long as I could, but I had a test that I had to go to that afternoon. And I said, Julianne, are you okay if I go to the test? And she said, yeah, go ahead, I'm okay. I'm safe, sound. Our daughter's taken care of. Go take the test and come right back. So I did. So I went and took my test. It was in the middle of the semester, not the middle of the semester, near the beginning of the semester. But Brooke was there, and like I say, it was a beautiful fall day. And it was a pleasant memory still. With Ashley, I was going to University of Arizona. They have a teaching hospital there, and so if we had the baby born at University of Arizona Hospital, they would give us a special price, and so we did. And so we went to U of A Hospital. It was a hot day in July in Tucson. It was July 13th. We tease her. It was a Friday, 13th, that Ashley was born, and it was a while for her to come too. And she was finally born, and how excited we were to have her. What a fun time that was. Then with Nathan, our second one, he was born in February. It was in Tucson also. Beautiful, beautiful day in February. It was warm. It was not cold at all. I'll just be candid. After two daughters, I was hoping I had a son. At least let me have one son. And when he was born, how elated I was. I was just elated to have a son. And how fun it was. And the other two kids were just happy as could be to see a son and to see a brother. They were just happy, and that was a fun time for us.
Nathan, I have to tell you, Nathan was easier to get out than any of them, I've decided. He was huge. He was,
8 pounds.
I think he was 9 pounds, so 10.5 ounces. He was huge. That's what I remember about him, and he was easier to come than the other two girls were, and that surprised me. But then I think they might have given me an epidural too. I don't remember.
Anyway, that was when we were in Tucson, and we moved to Denver. Julianne was expecting, and Andrew was born in November, and it was just a special time because I was working full time. The kids were all healthy and happy. We took her to the hospital, and she was doing okay, and it was taking a long time. Julianne always had long labors. So we were doing okay, and so they got worried that they believed that she had aspirated some fluid or whatever, and they were going to do a cesarean, and they didn't, but they went in and with forceps pretty much got her. And she was hardly breathing, and they put her in an oxygen tent, and they were working on her to get her there. I called my home teacher at the time and said, I need to give her a blessing. And he came immediately. They were working with her mouth and her lungs and everything, with tubes and everything, and the poor little baby was hardly moving. And they said, look, we're working with this area, the head and lungs. You can anoint her feet. And we said, okay. And so we anointed her feet. It was just before Thanksgiving. And when we anointed her and blessed her, I knew that she would be okay. I knew she would be fine and that she would come out of it okay. And shortly after that, she did. They made her stay in the hospital a little bit longer. They had Julianne stay there. We could have brought Julianne home, but Julianne didn't want to leave the hospital without our baby, so she stayed there another day or two. And you came home, I don't know if you remember if you came home, it was either on the day before Thanksgiving or the day after.
Because your mother came down to be with us, and Aaron wanted a turkey.
Yeah, Ashley wanted.
Ashley.
What happened was, so Julianne got released the day before, and Ashley said, we got to have a turkey. And I'm going, I'm so sick of turkeys. And so we said, let's have ham. And Ashley said, I want a turkey. She was like 8, 9, something like that. She said, and so we bought a whole chicken, and we said, look at this baby turkey. We'll have a baby turkey. And she said, great, let's have a baby turkey. And so we cooked ham and a chicken, told Ashley it was a baby turkey, and she was okay. But how grateful I was that Thanksgiving to be in that house with my family and my wife and our newborn baby. And by then she was recovering nicely, but she was in tough shape when she was born. And then we moved to Albuquerque. Aaron was born. Again, we had great health insurance at the time. It was a beautiful day, is what I remember. And I remember a funny thing happened to me when Aaron was born, and that was I took her to the hospital. She was having a hard time. She was having a hard time breathing, and so they did a cesarean section. She was our 5th child, and you'd think that we would be okay. They did a cesarean.
Her heartbeat kept dropping.
When Julianne would have a contraction, her heartbeat would drop way low and then slowly come back up till the next contraction, and then it would drop again. And they were worried about her. And so they went in and did a cesarean on her, and of course she was fine. So I took the kids to the hospital. They were just excited to have a new sister, and the nurse was there, and she knew the story that this was our 4th girl, our 5th child. And Nathan wasn't very big. He was maybe 5 or 6. And as we came into the hospital, the nurse said, oh, here we go, your mother is here and your little sister is here. She says, but if you want to trade your sister for a brother.
Oh, I thought he asked if he could.
He asked, I can't remember. I guess he may have. Anyway, he asked if he could trade a sister and have a brother instead, because we walked by all of the babies in there, and you could tell because they had them in blue blankets and pink blankets and all that. And he asked if he could, and the nurse kind of said, sure, why not? And he took her seriously. He was excited as can be. Don't wait, Nathan, you can't do that. We're not going to do that.
But he comes running down the hall,
Mom,
into my bedroom and says, Mom, they said we could trade her for
we
a
could
boy.
have a boy. We're going, Nathan, it doesn't work that way, son. We're keeping your sister. Anyway, but she was okay, even though she was having a hard time at birth. Again, she came out of it okay. And when push came to shove of our 5 children, I believe that 3 of them would have been born dead had it not been for the miracle of medicine and prayers of our 5. I don't believe we'd have Brooke. I don't believe we'd have had Andrea or Aaron.
No.
They all 3 had a hard time at birth, and And so we were grateful for both medicine and faith to help him out.
Raising 5 kids was really fun. It was trying, but I love doing things with my kids. And so even if he was working, I would find things to do. Whenever it snowed, we would go out and sleigh ride. Whenever it rained, we would probably go run in the rain. Who knows what we would do? But I always took him to different activities. We had fun on Halloween. I made their costumes. They were all homemade costumes in those days. We didn't buy them in the store. So that was a fun time for me to figure out what each child wanted to be and to make their costume. When we lived in Maryland, it did what they called freezing rain. It would rain and then the rain would freeze. And so when we were back there and it froze, it would freeze. The tennis courts would have water on them and they would freeze and it would be thick. The roads would have water on them and it would freeze. And so I went down to the secondhand store and I bought ice skates for all my kids. And we went ice skating on those frozen tennis courts, and we went ice skating down the streets, and we went everywhere we could find ice it was just a unique thing because that didn't happen anywhere else, where you could just have a tennis court that was frozen over and just go ice skating on it. So that's the kind of fun stuff that I did. I thought of fun things like that to do with the kids. And then we always loved sleigh riding whenever it would snow.
We went up to the mountains and played in the snow together going, "What? You took them out of school?" She said, "Yeah, I took them out of school because that was more fun than going to school." I go, "What?" Because in my family, you just never ditched school. You never missed school unless you were like on your deathbed. You just never missed it. And she would take them out of school to do those fun things. And I'm going, that's exactly right, man. No one will ever remember that day if you'd have gone to school. But by doing what she'd take them out of school all the time to do those fun things. It was worth it. It was a good lesson for me. I believe the things that we did that would help our kids understand our love for them, there's a few. One is the things we did at home, family prayer, family home evening, there's reading scriptures, and we've already talked about that a little bit. But some of the other things is we had family counsel. Some of our family counsels were I just laugh. I'd walk away just laughing at the things because we would always cover scheduling and calendaring, and then we would say, okay, now anybody can say anything. And they would just bring it. We're tired of having vegetables with our food. I understand, but we're still going to have vegetables. I don't like it when you make me fix the salad. And we just go through the craziest things on family council when we would open. It was like Mike night. We'd open up the floor to them, and they would complain about different things. So we would discuss it. But that was important to us. But I'll just say one thing that I believe was important to us, and that they helped them understand, and that is, I'll just say there was a time in our life when we were just struggling financially, and we moved to Maryland, and that was a tough time for us. It was a tough time for us because our kids were behind the other kids in their class. The schools in Albuquerque were behind, almost a grade behind what our kids were learning. And that was especially true in math. And every night I used to go in and gather those kids and would do math homework, all of them where I could. Ashley was one that struggled the most. She was a freshman or 8th grader, and she was behind in math, and all of them were behind in math. And we did homework together for a long time. But during this time, we got a raise when we moved back to Washington, D.C., but the cost of living was far greater than the raise that we picked up. We thought we would be fine, and money was tight. And we didn't go on dates. We just didn't. We would stay home because we thought we couldn't afford it. And we finally got to the point where we're going, Julianne, maybe we'll go on a date, but we won't do a lot.
You won't spend a lot of money.
And they knew that we loved each other because they knew on Friday nights we were going to go on our date. And sometimes our dates only consisted of going to Costco
And having a hot
and
dog.
getting a $1.50 hot dog and doing a little bit of shopping. That's sometimes, but we would stay there. We would talk to each other there in the Costco food court. And they made fun of us. They still do make fun of us in that area. But that's all we could afford at the time. But we did it. And they knew that we loved each other, and they knew that they were solid in their family. They knew we weren't going to break apart as a family, because a lot of their friends were breaking apart. Their homes were falling apart, and they knew that we were not. And it's something that we learned, and we've, after those days, we've always done Friday nights. So we'll miss a few here and there, but that's important to us. And I believe that helped them know and understand where they stood in our relationship and in the relationship as a family. Yeah, my children think that I maybe jump from hobby to hobby, and that maybe I'm a little bit opinionated. And I understand how they might think that. But
Might.
But I do go from hobby to hobby. I mean, I look at my hobbies. I was into photography for a while. I was into pottery for a while. I was into outdoor camping and hiking for a while. And I can go on and on. I mean, there's even more that I was into, computers and computer programming, and it goes on and on. And I'm good for each one for maybe 5 to 10 years, and then I get tired of it and switch.
Kind of like breakfast cereals.
Yeah, but I like to study things. I study things pretty carefully, and so when I state an opinion, it's not just because I've studied it, if you're with me. And I think they don't pay attention enough sometimes. I'll begin. But anyway, but I do enjoy life. I'll be candid, I love to tease my kids. When they were growing, I would tease them all the time. And I would never speak down to them. I always talked to them as adults, as if they were adults. I didn't talk down to them. I talked to them as adults. And it made it fun as we interacted with each other. In fact, I will say one of the things that Julianne does not like, and that is, I used to tease my kids, but when the kids were all gone, I teased her a little bit. She doesn't like being teased, even when you do it or just teasing, just kind of fun. She typically doesn't like being teased.
Depends if I think you mean it or not. If you're teasing me because it's something that I need.
But anyway, and that's the issue. My kids knew and understand where I was coming from more. But I believe with Julianne's background, it was harder for her to distinguish that. And so we'll see. But like I say, but I do enjoy those things. I have enjoyed my life with those hobbies and stuff. If I get a little bit bored, I move on.
Well, I'm a huge BYU football groupie, basketball groupie. My kids might know that though. But I love to watch the sports. I don't know what it was, but it was during COVID for some reason. I guess we couldn't do other stuff, and I just got into watching BYU basketball and BYU football, and I love it. I don't like to miss any of their games. I like to read about all of the different players and learn about their lives, and I like to have conversations about them, and I feel like I can hold my own when I'm talking to people in the sports world, when we're talking about basketball and football and BYU.
For me, like I say, I look at my life on the farm and the impact it had on it. At one point, I had to look at it and made the decision that I couldn't raise my children on the farm. I thought if I'm going to raise my children, I might as well raise them as city kids, so to speak, because that's where we were going. Not everybody could live on a farm. But some of my quirks still remain. I mean, like, I still wished I owned the fastest horse in the county, that I could take everybody. I still wished I had the biggest tractor in the county, that everybody would look and go, oh, look at
the tractor.
I always wanted the biggest tractor around, and they go, oh, look, Ned got twice as big as ours, and I just wanted the biggest tractor in the county. And those things still stick with me, just as a kid, that I wanted those things as a kid, and I go, and I wish I still had the biggest tractor and the fastest horse.
He wants to get a tractor to take up
That not
to the
many
ranch.
people recognize. People go, what? They're going, but anyway, I drove a pickup for the longest time, just because that's what my dad did, and that's what everybody did. The current, I have a Yukon right now, and that's the first time I haven't owned a pickup.
When all my children were married in the temple was one of the most joyous days of my life when my last little daughter, Andrea, they presented me with a vase that had 5 white roses in them. And on the white rose was the name of each child with the date that they were married in the temple.
Marriage date.
And they gave me that at Andrea's wedding, which was my last one to get married. When we went in to the temple that day and sealed her, that's what I was thinking. I had all 5 of my children there with their spouses, and they all went into the prayer circle with their spouses. And I think your mom and dad were in there.
My parents were there, and your
My parents were there. And we were all in the prayer circle, and all of our children. And that was one of the most joyous experiences of my life. I will never forget that. All those kids in the celestial room with us afterwards. I'm so grateful for them and for their hard work, and it wasn't easy for all of them, I know. But that's something I will hold forever close to my heart, forever and ever and ever. That was a beautiful, beautiful time. The reason this was so significant was because you always hope your children will get married in the temple. You hope that they will grow up and be active in the church. That's your prayer as a parent from the time they're little tiny kids. When that actually happened, all I could think of was how grateful I was for the gospel in my life, grateful for my children, that they listened and that they tried to do what was right. I'm so grateful for my family. I'm so grateful for my kids. I'm so grateful for the way they're teaching their children. I'm so grateful for my grandkids that are trying to do what's right. I'm grateful for the kids that are on missions and the ones that are at home just trying to stay in and do the things they know that are good. And I had a great family of my own with my parents, and I'm just so grateful to Heavenly Father and Jesus for this gospel that teaches us what families should be and what we can do to be together forever. And I just can't express my gratitude enough, how thankful I am for families and for the gospel and for Jesus Christ and for the restored church on this earth.